So what you see in front of you now is an overview of all of Movement 3 version 7 that I have so far, roughly 108 bars. Everything after that are just fragments I probably will throw out, but keeping them around just in case. And right here you see everything highlighted in blue on the left. These are all the woodwind tracks. So this is a kind of a God's eye view where you can see each instrument on its own track or staff equivalent. So scroll down, here are the brass, and then below that, of course, are percussion and contrabass. Usually, though, I work in the MIDI window. For those of you who use Digital Performer, these are the two I use most, the tracks window and the MIDI window, which takes all of that information and overlays it on top of each other and looks like this. Now that's a bit crazy looking right now. We're zoomed all the way out, so that's everything I have. However, I can select which tracks I want to see. I could hide all the woodwinds, for example. Hide all the brass. Take out the percussion too. Oops, there we go. Or just take it down to specific instruments, say just the saxophones. As you can see, the saxophones play a lot in this movement. And I can zoom in otherwise. You see the opening here. The blue is the bari sax, green is the alto sax. And also you can see the time signature up here. It's a 6/8 primarily. There's a few bars of 9/8. And the tempo is dotted quarter equals 100. I keep coming back to 100 as the primary tempo. That's the same tempo as the first movement. And roughly the same tempo for the second movement. I don't know why this is, because it's not a tempo I normally use, and yet I'm stuck in it for this entire piece, it appears. We'll see about the last movement. I have some other plans. Okay, here you see the very beginning of version 7 of movement 3. And if you look over here, bari sax, alto sax 1, and harp open the movement. And then you have a lot of interplay among the four saxophones. Alto 1, alto 2, tenor, bari, and back and forth. And then they have some quartet homophonic stuff here. And actually over here at around bar 15, bar 16, the muted trombone quartet comes in and doubles them. But that's hidden right now because I have the brass collapsed. So we can just see the woodwinds and the percussion. Because the harp, right here, this kind of purplish lavender color, lays down the ostinato, this repeated E. And you can hear it. It sounds just like this. There's some oboe action going on there. Right there. Muted trombones are with saxes. And then they split off. And then a double reed quartet as well, bassoons and oboes. Plus tuba. It comes right back to the same texture and rhythm again. I like these little interruptions, these little bursts of something else, and then come right back to what I had before. I do this in a lot of pieces. It goes all the way back to Chester Leaps In. And that's just a very common impulse and thing I like to hear in music. Now in this next section, it's some more of the same material, the same rhythmic chords in the saxophones and some of the other instruments, a little bit different orchestration around it. And the same kind of ostinato continues in the harp and in some of the mallets. Now this rhythm that the saxophones are playing, especially down here at bar 55, is exactly the same rhythm from movement 1, bar 54, that's played in the vibraphones. And it's the exact same tempo, even though it's notated completely differently. We're in primarily 6/8, but the pulse in the harp is actually the dotted 8th note. Here's what it sounds like starting around bar 51. This rhythm here. Bum, bum, bum. Extended clarinet solo. joined by alto sax, my lovely saxophone patch, at this point, I bring in the antiphonal clarinets. If you'll see here, clarinet 4 is on the left side of the audience, clarinet 5 is behind, and clarinet 6 is to the right, just as they have been throughout the whole piece. And I bring them in doing this aleatoric thing. Now, obviously, I can't write in aleatoric information into Digital Performer. I actually have to play whatever I want it to play. So I play approximately what I want to happen. I'll go back and figure out how to notate it later. It's a very quiet, noodling sort of thing on an A Phrygian sort of scale, up and down. And with the three of them, hopefully it'll sound like this, very quietly behind everything else. So this kind of swirling, quiet texture all around the audience. Now that's going on while this happens. In this context, it's very hard to hear, but you have to bear in mind that those clarinets will actually be closer to the audience, and it'll be more of a felt, visceral sort of swirling sound around you while the main action is happening on stage. At least that's what I hope. So Digital Performer does have a notation view. It's called Quick Scribe. I never ever use this when I'm writing. In fact, I never use it at all. But I thought it might be interesting to show you a little bit of the opening in roughly normal notation. Now it's extremely inaccurate. Look here at the alto saxophone. There's actually a 16th note run, but there are notes missing. I don't know why. And it's trying to notate this harp gliss, exactly, which is not what I want. It'll just be a gliss. Here you can see the harp ostinato, which is the dotted 8th note rhythm I mentioned. I'll play a little bit and you can see kind of what's going on. I'm just showing you the first oboe, the saxophones, harp, and vibraphone. Obviously no dynamics or anything are notated. So there you have a rough overview of Movement 3 version 7 as it stands right now. I think I'm close to halfway finished with it. It probably won't be more than 5 minutes altogether, and I have a little over 2 minutes, 2.25 I think. Maybe in the next episode I'll take you through the previous versions of Movement 3 and sort of trace the evolution of how I got to this point. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.